The stone clicks against glass, a small, sharp sound that fills the kitchen each evening, just once, before the light goes out. No one in that house ever asked what it meant, and Mater never explained. This was a hill town in the old country, where the snow came early and stayed late, and the houses pressed together like people sharing a blanket against the cold. The bread was dark and dense, the well water was cold enough to make your teeth ache, and the doors had no locks. Everyone thought they knew everyone else's business. Who owed what, who quarrelled, who made the best plum brandy. And they all knew old Mater, who lived at the top of the hill in the house with the crooked blue shutters. She was the one who arrived with soup before you admitted you were sick. She mended a gap in your fence while walking past. She left a warm loaf on your step and was already around the corner when you opened the door. She gave the way the creek gives water, steadily, without being asked, without ever asking back. She never spoke about what she did, and she never kept anything she was given. But every night, before she blew out the candle, she held one pale stone in her palm. It was smooth, no bigger than a walnut. She dropped it through the narrow neck of the glass jar on her shelf. Click! One stone for every kindness given that day. The jar grew heavier over the years, and Mater grew thinner, and the sound never stopped. The jar was nearly full, and Mater was nearly done. When the longest winter took her, quietly, in her sleep, the way she had done everything, the village came to pay their respects. They filed into her little house, and there on the shelf, catching the grey light, sat the jar. It was full to the brim, pale stones packed tight against the glass like eggs in a nest. She must have been counting her good deeds, said the baker, and a few people nodded. A strange thing to keep, muttered the schoolteacher. Probably just dried beans, said the blacksmith, and 2 or 3 people laughed. But Petra, Mater's granddaughter, 11 years old, with her grandmother's steady hands, climbed onto a chair and lifted the jar from the shelf. It was heavier than stone should be. She carried it to the kitchen table, and the crowd parted around her, and the room went still. She pulled off the lid and tipped the jar. The stone spilled across the wood like dry rain on a roof. And there, scratched into each pale stone in Mater's small, careful hand, was not a number. Not a kindness. Not a good deed. A name. Petra picked up the nearest stone and held it to the light. Anna, as she read aloud. The old woman by the window pressed both hands to her mouth. Petra picked up another. Mikhail. The blacksmith, the same man who had joked, sat down hard in Mater's chair. Name after name after name. Every person in that room found their own name on at least one stone. The widow at the back found hers on 3, from 3 different winters, and she stood in the doorway and wept. The jar was not a tally of what Mater had given. It was a record of who she had carried. Every click in the dark was not Mater counting herself. It was Mater holding someone's name, quietly, when they did not know they were held. You do not have to be loud to matter in someone's life. You do not have to be noticed to be the one holding things together. The people who carry us are often the ones we forget to thank. We do not notice, until we hold the proof in our hands. Until we read our own name, scratched small and careful, by someone who never asked to be seen. Think of the person who always shows up with what you need, and never asks for anything back. They may be keeping your name somewhere safe. The jar sits empty now on Petra's shelf, in the house with the crooked blue shutters at the top of the hill. But some nights, when the wind is still and the candles are low, you can almost hear it, a small stone clicking against glass. One more name held. One more life carried, gently, before the light goes out.